Hi everybody, welcome back to the Slide Roll Past YouTube channel, your home for football stats and chats. And it is quite honestly the best podcast we'll ever record, ever, Mark. It is special about the Newcastle United takeover. I'm absolutely over the freaking moon. I didn't swear that. I will swear later. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. I'm obviously not as happy as you. I've totally lost it there.
That's all right. It's exciting times. It's exciting times, mate. Nobody knows what to say or do, which is the best thing about it. But yeah, we're going to get right stuck in a minute. We've got a special guest coming on to talk all things Newcastle United takeover, and it's just been absolutely phenomenal. In case anybody has been living under a rock or the moon, or you're just from Sunderland and you don't want to listen, you got your fingers in your ears. Newcastle United have been bought, and we have the mega rich owners now of the PIF, Amanda Staveley and the Reuben brothers. And we're about to get stuck right into this for the next few minutes and bask in the glory of what could be for Newcastle United, mate. So without further ado, Mark, roll those credits. Let's get stuck in, bud. Nope. Ding dong, the fat cockney bastard has gone. Get in! As we said, this is the Newcastle United takeover special. You can see we've been joined by the very happy, very excited Dan from NUFC Opinion Blog. Dan, how are you, mate? What man, sunshine?
Well, I'm creased after you just done that introduction there, Chris.
Had to be done. It had to be done. Come on, mate.
Well, over the moon, ecstatic, all the superlatives, Chris. Just the fact that my club might once again be moving in the correct direction. It's relief, if anything. I think that's the best way of describing it. It's just relief and just it was a sheer outpouring of joy and emotion. I'm sure we'll get to how Thursday went in the show, but yeah, just ecstatic.
Fantastic. Listen, we're going to get stuck into it again, and just in case, again, like I said in the intro, if anybody happen to be away on business on Thursday on the moon, or if you live in Sunderland, you've got your fingers in your ears going la 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 la. Sorry, but Newcastle United have been bought by Amanda Staveley, the Reuben brothers, and the PIF Fund. And Mark has a wonderful slide, probably the best slide he's ever done in his life. Exactly, just to show you how wealthy these guys are. We sit right at the top there with a combined wealth of 322 billion, and that is 100 billion more than Cheat Code FC, PSG, that sign the best players in the world every single week. So how about some of that? Get it up your top six. Come on, that's what I'm saying about that, mate. So absolutely, just let's leave that slide up there for a second, Dan. Let's just enjoy that for a second, mate. How does that make you feel as a Newcastle fan, mate?
Well, I could sum it up in some explicit words, but I'm not going to.
Go for it, mate. We're already blacklisted for the bad language because of me anyway, mate. Go for it.
Oh, just look, like, you know what it was, right? It was on Friday morning, and I was chatting to my dad about it all, like what had happened the night before. And I was saying to him, oh, yeah, because I was saying, oh, PSG, or the second richest club in the world. He's like, oh, who's the richest again? And I was like, us. And he just looked at me like, we just both started laughing straight away.
Oh, mate, it's amazing. Do you know what, Dan? I'm really excited for a young fan like yourself. I mean, bring Mark in here as well, because obviously we're old farts compared to you, mate. But we remember when Newcastle were good. Yeah, you're welcome, mate. We remember when Newcastle were good, back in the 90s under Keegan, that obviously, a bit of Robson. You kind of came in, sadly, towards the back end of that. But even for you, Mark, I mean, how excited are you for Dan as a young fan to experience a Newcastle United?
Come on, how excited are you for me?
Just purely for Dan, yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, just for Dan.
No one else. No.
He dressed for the occasion. You've got to be excited for him.
Absolutely. No, you're right. Those of a certain age know nothing different than the last 14 years of just a dire club. You look at
dying club.
Well, yeah, almost.
Yeah.
If you look at the sort of the Freddie Shepherd years, and we'll go back to football was pre the Premier League, but we'll go back to the Premier League era when Newcastle got promoted. It was 14 years until Mike Ashley took over. In that time, they finished in the top 10 far more than they were out of it. In fact, I think, is it something like 11 of the 14 seasons were in the top 10. 3 of those were 10th, and then it was 3 outside. So the vast majority of those challenging for Europe. And then Ashley takes over, and you've got 1 top 5 finish and 3 top 10s in 14 years, 2 relegations, and just there was just no hope. There was no desire to ever improve. And even after that season that you finished 5th, that it's just there was no, well, come on, let's build on it. Let's expand on what we've done, because we've done brilliantly this season for whatever reason, and it just never happened. And that was always the case under Ashley. And just to now have hope, to quote Princess Leia in Star Wars, you now have.
Oh, hope. I thought you were quoting Steve Bruce, to be honest.
Yeah,
oh God,
with a W.
I've got class.
I don't want to see him in that gold bikini, mate. That's not good.
No.
By the way. No.
You just put an interesting image into my head, and
I'm now scarred for life. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, listeners.
No, I don't have a picture of that. Thank God, to bring up. There's no slide for that. But no, you're right. Just for Newcastle fans alone, just to have some hope now of being able to compete. I saw a great banner that was up. We don't expect to win. We just expect you to try, and that's exactly what every Newcastle fan has said for donkeys. Is they just want the team to go out and go. We believe that we can go out and win. We might not, but at least we're going to give it a go. And that's always been something that I think every pundit under the sun has always overlooked, is the fact that they're all adamant that Newcastle fans want the glory days of Keegan back, and you want to be finishing second, but they just want to try, even with no support for the manager. They just wanted the team to go out and go, let's just go out and give it a go, not let's sit back and just hope we nick a 1-goal win or we get a draw. Or it's been garbage, and it is exciting. I've born and raised up here, so it is a team fairly close to my heart, because they're the only one up here. It is a 1-club city, and I live on the outskirts, so I get it. And I used to dread Newcastle games as a Villa fan. I'm getting to the point where I'm probably going to dread Newcastle games as a Villa fan once again. So yeah, it is amazing. And and that's for me. So, and that's my excitement about it. And I can see why after so long that Newcastle fans are so excited about it.
Absolutely. Dan, where were you when you heard the news, mate?
I was outside St James's Park, near the Bobby Robson statue, stood with Andrew Musgrove of the Chronicle. I was helping. I'd been helping him and Emil out all day. Emil was at work at this point, so I was helping Andrew. I was carrying a few bits of his equipment around and just generally shadowing him, essentially just getting some experience. And then suddenly, a roar went up, and the journalist in us was like, "Well, where's the official confirmation? We need it. We can't say anything until we actually have it." And so we were desperately refreshing Twitter, and all we found was that Sky Sports are reporting, "Oh, the shares and the money's been transferred." So Andrew, because he had to go live on Facebook and Twitter at this point to try and report. So I was desperately finding tweets for him from other reporters to read out to his live viewers.
Scrolling through.
Yes, so I found a few from Lee Ryder, from Mark Douglas, and obviously Sky Sports that he read out live. And then I had to rush off towards the Milburn stand into a quiet little spot because I had to do a quick interview for my radio show about the Great North Run. In the midst of all this, I had to go and do that. I mean, lovely little interview. Great to listen if you're a fan of the Great North Run. But right at that point, when things are kicking off, you just sort of want to be in the middle of it. And then I just about finished that interview, and then another roll went up as I was walking back. And then I'd heard that the Premier League had given the official confirmation.
That was the moment.
And then it just went mental. And
oh man, what was it like? And how? Because I saw the scenes. Mark saw the scenes. You know, it's like I remember that scene in Gremlins 2 when you all just get them all at the end of the big skyscraper at the end. There's just fucking millions of them. It was kind of like that out of nowhere. There was like 3 or 4 fans, and all of a sudden there just seemed to be millions of them.
Well,
how quickly did that kick off, Dan? How quickly?
I'll take you through my day.
Oh, very good.
I was at the ground from 12:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
I'd swerved out of a university lecture to get there to meet a meal.
You're not going to get in trouble for this, are you? Don't watch a slide.
Well, the thing is, right, I'd said to the lecturer, I've got to go and film some stuff regarding the takeover. He said, that's fine. I support Newcastle. I'm currently refreshing my Twitter as well. Get yourself away. Go and do some actual stuff. Yeah, go and like be part of it. So I was like, thank you very much. So I left about half an hour early. Bumped into Andrew Musgrove there. He was busy interviewing people. Then I interviewed me for the Chronicle, which ended up on the Chronicle website. I then went and found Emile, who was busy waiting to be interviewed by Sky Sports, but then that had to be pushed back because they couldn't find a camera. I know. Sky Sports, they couldn't find a camera. I know. And then we had to go off down to the Bobby Robson statue to go and do an interview with Channel 4, which I took some photos of. Then we rushed back up to the car park because Sky had found the camera. Then we rushed back down again to do part 1 of the fan cams, which are out now at the time of recording.
Yeah, very good. I've watched the first half, not the second half. Yeah, very good.
Well, just you wait. And then Emile had to go off to work, of course, on Heart Radio. So then I started shadowing Andrew a little bit. I went off then at about sort of 20 past 3. I went off. I got some food for me and Andrew because we were a bit pecked. We hadn't eaten much during the day. I had a quick change as well because it was actually quite a humid day and I was a bit sweaty with all the excitement. So I had a quick change of clothes as well. Got back. We had a bit of we had a bit of a snack. I'd also brought a power pack for Andrew Musgrove's phone because it was running desperately low.
Yeah.
So I brought a power pack to help him charge that up, which he thanked me immensely for. I did a couple of Vox Pops for LBC whilst there, because they were asking for some. And then obviously what happened at about 10 to 5, I think it was roughly. And then it was after 5:15. And then all that happened, as I said. So for the majority of the day, I'd say there's about, a decent amount, maybe 50 or so fans there, for 50, 100 or so. By the time that 6 o'clock came and obviously the official confirmation come and I think people were starting to get there, it had got into the hundreds and then touching the thousands. Incredible. And then we finished going around. There was footballs being pelted around as well. I had to kick it a couple of times into the air. Some lad pelted one and it knocked a beer out of another lad's hand and it went all over.
Oh,
I know.
What a nightmare.
I know. And
but
then
I bet you the feel-good factor was so good that even spilling the pint didn't ruin it.
No one cared. It was just funny. Everyone just found it funny. This is the thing. I bumped into several old school friends who had started attending. I bumped into Matthew Raisbeck of Radio Newcastle. So I had a little quick word with him. He was just there filming it as well. And then I went off with Andrew Musgrove and his dad off to the Strawberry for a pint. And then Emile rang me saying, I'm finished work, Dan. Are we going to get back out there and do part 2 of the fan cams? He finished at 7, so we got back out there. Part 2 will be out soon, just a little plug there. And then once that was done, then me and Emile ran off to Sainsbury's because Tesco, we'd heard, had ran out of cans. We ran off to a Sainsbury's, me and Emile, and we bought some alcohol. He went and dumped some of his equipment in his car in the car park. I went off to Sainsbury's, bought the alcohol. We then cracked it open and then ran back in the middle of it, walked past Sam Fender, said hello to him. And then me and Emile just got lost in the whole madness of it. A couple of my friends turned up as well. And then me and Emile just had a merry old time into the night. I got drunk with Emile Franchi. What could be better?
Exactly, mate. Honestly, I think my wife wants to have a drink with Emile Franchi. I'm not going to let her. Though. He's too handsome.
Well, he's a very handsome man, isn't he? Big
shout out to him. We love Emile. But listen, mate, that's fantastic. Listen, what a great insight, Mark, that is to the day, isn't it? Of a journalist, really, mate. Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was the scenes were just phenomenal. It was just nice to see there being a buzz about the city again, and it has been dire. It's been, the atmosphere around the place, at the best of times is quite low. especially what everybody's just been through over the last 18 months or so. And it's just, everybody's got a smile on their face walking around. And you're right, some of the scenes.
I can't stop. I'm just.
Well, exactly. And, you know, you see some of the signs going on. What was going on. And it just, honestly.
I'm in there somewhere. I'm somewhere there.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Absolutely phenomenal to see. And, you know, I know there's reservations about it, but you can, as a football fan of any other club, you can understand why there is so much excitement about what the future now holds.
Yeah, it's interesting, Mark. Just to touch on that a bit, you raised a good point there. You know, we spoke about this, Dan, as well. You know, in the True Faith group chat, where you know we get involved, and we write a bit for True Faith as well. You know, nobody's going to put these guys up to win Humanitarian of the Year award. There's absolutely no doubt about that. You know, but I think what people need to understand here, and Mark's kind of touched on it quite eloquently there. You know, that this is the heartbeat of the city. You know, Newcastle United and St James's Park is the heart of Newcastle, and that heart has been ripped out, stamped on, tabs put out on it, pissed on, all sorts for 14 years. And you know, to have this hope and this excitement, and not just to get a good football team and good players again, you know, to invest in the community, to create jobs, to develop the training complex, to bring on the next generation of young Newcastle players, you know, kids now who are in school, rather than going to Chelsea and Manchester United, coming and staying and playing at the hometown club, being the next Shearer or the next Gaza. You know, that's massive, not just for Newcastle, that's massive for the city. And I understand people from the outside don't get that, but if you flip the roles around and that was your club, that was Stoke City, or that was Aston Villa, Mark, or that was Leicester, and they bought you and they were promising all that, you wouldn't see the negative side of it. You would see what it could be. You know, I think it's a great analogy. I think Adam from True Faith said it as well. When Aguero scored that goal for Manchester City, the famous goal, Martin Tyler lost his shit. Like, did anybody pull Aguero and go, ooh, have you thought about where that money's coming from? You know, they didn't do that. Everyone was just lost in a moment that little Manchester City went from Grimsby away in the League One playoff final to being the biggest club in the country. You know, and if Newcastle United can go on the same journey, you know, absolutely, you know, why piss on their chips? Yes, you've got to have some kind of an understanding about it, but, you know, go and talk to people who can influence it, talk to government, talk to MPs. Don't talk to Gary from Wallsend who sits in the Gallagher end. He's not going to do anything about it. Do you know what I mean? He's just going to look at you and say, oh, well, there might be bastards, mate, but what am I going to do about it? You know, don't lambast the Newcastle fans. Yes, be conscientious about it, but don't lambast. That's just my tuppence worth there, lads. So,
yep, round of applause. No, I think you're bang on it. At the end of the day, the Newcastle fans are there for one thing and one thing only, and that's the club. It's the club and the city. At the end of the day, you're right. It is the beating heart of the club. The club are on a high. The city is on a high, and everybody around it has an extra spring in their step. If there are problems outside of the football, then those have to be tackled by the right people, not poor Gary from Wallsend. I don't know why you've picked on Gary. I don't know who Gary is.
I feel very sorry for Gary now.
Exactly.
He's a political powerhouse in the social club. Eh? He's always got the feeling of something. So.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. You know, it's a bigger story than the football club. Some of the issues that I don't want to get into because I'm not. Yeah. I'm not qualified in that. I get the worry, and I get the worry that's come with other clubs as well. But again, you're absolutely right. If you know some of the clubs that are struggling financially suddenly have this influx of cash, are they really going to sit there and go, nah, I don't like it? No. Villa had a Chinese owner. There were question marks, but we accepted the fact that he wanted to invest in the club and take us forward. We were all sold on the story that we were going to be in the Champions League in 5 years' time. It was complete bullshit, but it was a story we were all sold on, and a lot, you know, were just accepted the fact that he's a new owner. We don't really care where the money's come from. We don't care where he comes from. It's just our club's going to be better than it was before. and that's pretty much what you'll find from a lot of fans. You're right. Be conscientious about what else is going on, but we're not there to be the political voice of the world.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's right. But we'll kind of park the moralistic obligations there.
Really, wasn't it?
Yeah, to one side. And let's move on to the checklist of what the owners.
Let's leave the geopolitics to side for now. Yes.
Exactly, mate. Thank you, mate. So we'll leave that to one side. And the new owners have got a massive job on their hands. You know, it isn't just a club that can come in and just go boof ta-da, new centre forward, everything sorted. There's a massive job on their hands. And for me, Dan, I want to get your opinion here. For me, there's one place to start, and that's in the dugout. Get that useless sack of shite, Baron of Bacon, out of my club. He's ridiculously shite, mediocre.
I love that, the Baron of Bacon. That's my favourite thing you've ever said, Chris.
One of the worst managers I've ever seen in my life. Mark will back me up here because he had the twat for a few years, and he's dreadful. So, Dan, what is your opinion on that, mate?
Well, yeah, he's got to go, hasn't he? Obviously, like if we're going to be a forward-looking club, we can't be looking at the statistically one of the worst managers ever to manage the Premier League. We can't keep him, no matter what Danny Murphy says or Gabby says.
But yeah, well, we'll get stuck into these knackers in a minute. Mark's got a fantastic slide here. He's just going to pull up, and for anybody listening on the audio, if you are fantastic, you know, you will catch us on Spotify, iTunes, and all the other podcasting platforms. But just to talk through this, Mark's got a great slide up on the screen. Obviously, for guys on YouTube, you can see that, and you're probably swearing right now. But this is Steve Bruce's tail of the tape from Newcastle United from July 2019 to present. 83 games, 23 wins, 23 draws, 37 defeats. I don't think he's won a game in about 37 games, Mark, has he? He's scored 92, conceded 136, and he's got a 27.7% win ratio. Absolutely awful for anybody listening to that or watching that. How on earth can you call yourself a professional pundit, Gabiad Bong Lahore? Sorry, Mark. And Danny Murphy in particular, who, I mean, this was a knacker the other week who was questioned having a throw-in coach. You know, he's like Mike Bassett, England manager or something. Why is he even still on the TV? You know, get him off the BBC. Yeah, Talk Sport's different because that just seems to be a conveyor belt of absolute wazzicks that go round and round and just talk shite for a living. But, you know, you cannot sit there as a professional pundit. I mean, Gary Neville was on Sky the other week and I spoke to the lads of True Faith, brilliant, him and Carragher. They're on the money with it. You cannot have a manager like that ruining this buzz, can you, Mark? Just come to you on that first. You can't have this manager ruining this buzz, can you? You can't.
No. That's exactly what I sort of said the other day. If you have this positive buzz around the city, around the area, the club, you turn up at St James's Park at the weekend and he's still in the dugout, that atmosphere is going to get horrible. And it's not going to get horrible in terms of the team. It is all going to be directed at one man. And it's to take the manager out of it, that just is not fair on Steve Bruce. Yes, he's been awful. His record is atrocious. But as a human, I don't want to see another human being subjected to what can only be, you know, will only be abuse for 90 minutes. Yeah, because because, you know, even if he was there for it, that would be the last. I don't think it would go beyond that. I think, you know, move him on, garden leave, whatever you want to call it. If you haven't got somebody ready to come in, you've got a perfect guy in there just to take over in the interim in Graham Jones. Have that. Make sure that whatever atmosphere there is at St James's Park at the weekend is just buzzing, and it's all positive. You don't want anything to sideline what's happened since Thursday.
Absolutely. Dan, you'll probably be there on Sunday, I imagine, mate?
I will indeed. So I'm just reading some tweets. Well, from Luke Edwards on 5 Live Sport about Steve Bruce and his future right now.
Oh, okay.
In the last hour or so.
Half the press.
I know. Saying, and I quote, Luke Edwards on 5 Live Sport tonight, I don't think Steve Bruce will be in the dugout against Tottenham. We'll find out in the next 24 to 48 hours.
It seems to be very much all she wrote, doesn't it, really?
I should imagine I think it'll be Graham Jones in the dugout on Sunday, just covering that one game personally before they find a successor.
Just on that, Dan, and we'll get Mark's opinion on this as well. Do you think we'll play with a bit more freedom, a bit more on the front foot in that one game that Graham Jones, or one or two games Graham Jones might be in charge of? Wouldn't it be interesting to see if we do that?
Say, isn't it? I mean, obviously, you do wonder like how much say it does Bruce put the handbrake on them in terms of an attacking sense. So it will be very interesting to see if it is Graham Jones who is in the dugout on Sunday, what that's going to be like. Obviously, was it Graham Jones who came with the split striker formation? Because that, wasn't brilliant. That was because then they had Ryan Fraser playing centrally and Dwight Gale playing out wide, and that baffled me completely last season. But to be honest, I think regardless of what happens on Sunday, the atmosphere at the start and the build-up will probably carry us through anyway.
Oh yes, I think so.
So I think it's going to be it'll just be a good day regardless of the result. It'd be like, we would like to have a win considering that we still haven't won a game yet this season. We haven't felt we are still technically in a relegation battle here.
Yeah.
Although January we'll have a war chest, I should imagine. So things hopefully will improve. But yeah, no, it'll be interesting. But if anything, I'm just looking forward to the return of war flags into the atmosphere. That's why.
Absolutely. It'd be interesting as well. I think, Mark, just to bring you in as well, with the buzz in that stadium and players like St. Maximin, who draws off that, feeds off that, and if Wilson's back as well, surely those guys are going to be absolutely flying in that atmosphere, aren't they?
You would like to think so. I mean, it doesn't take much for St. Maximin to start flying, does it? I mean, he's the single best thing for Newcastle so far this season up until Thursday.
What happened on Thursday?
No, just small news day. I think it was.
Slow day.
Slow day. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get him back. You get some of the others back. I think is Dubravka due to be fit possibly as well?
50-50. But I should imagine. I doubt he'll be rested. I think it'll still be Darlow in goal.
Yeah, I think it'll be Darlow as well. Yeah, I think Darlow.
But
I wonder if Lascelles is back. Lascelles is back in training, isn't he, as well? I think.
I think he'll be back in. Yeah.
So even having those around the squad again, ready for the Sunday, and being there, I think just everybody will get a lift. And I think, is it as much as the handbrake's put on by Bruce, or just the players aren't really sure what they're supposed to be doing, which seems like the handbrake? I don't know. He always felt like he was just really unwilling to unleash his players in the right positions to.
It's always been a sort of a case of Steve Bruce that he's so scared to not lose.
Yeah. You see that Villa, Mark,
that stops him trying to win game. Like, he'd rather not lose than go all out for a win. Essentially, that's the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. We saw that at times at Villa as well, and that was in the division below where we had the most expensive squad in Championship history. So, it was horrible to watch then. You had moments, and Newcastle have had moments where, all of a sudden something clicks in, like the Leicester game last season, where it just seemed like everything going forward really worked.
That was a brilliant
game.
You always,
but at the end of it, you were panicking that actually, are we going to throw this away?
Never easy, is it? Never easy.
So, and you wonder then, is that why he's so reluctant to let his teams go for it, because he doesn't really know how to then keep hold of that lead or change the way he's playing. So it will be interesting to see if Jones is the man, how much freedom the players get. But I think if you've got Wilson up front, I think you've got the players around him to create and certainly cause Spurs problems. St. Maximin, I think, will feed on a full St. James's Park and a loud St. James's Park, and will play to them as well. And I think, every time he gets the ball, that crowd noise is just going to go through the roof.
Just a little sidebar on St. Maximin. I think one of the best things about the takeover is maybe being overlooked is without that takeover, he'd have been gone. He'd have been gone either in January or the end of the season. You get the takeover now. St. Maximin wants to stay here. This is the club to be at. Why is he going to go? So we can build the team around him. And that brings me nicely into the players. I think with the players, they're also going to be playing for their futures. You know, they don't know who's coming in. You know, we're going to have a look at that in a second. They don't know who's coming in. So they'll be thinking, I better turn it on here. Likes of Sean Longstaff, likes of Joe Willock. They'll be thinking, I better really put a game in here, because if this new manager's watching me, either in the stands or, you know, in Italy or wherever he is on holiday until he comes back and takes the Newcastle job, I better pull my finger out here, because if I play shit, he'll be thinking, well, I don't want him there. I'll just get rid in January and buy somebody else. So very interesting, I think, on Sunday, Dan, and I think we'll all be absolutely bouncing in the stadium, outside the stadium, across the other side of the world. All Newcastle fans are going to be absolutely gasping for Sunday. And just moving on to what we're talking about, Mark, with the next manager. Mark's got a nice slide there for the the betting odds, current betting odds. I'll let you take this one, Mark, just from the top.
Yeah, so I mean, it's slightly different to the way it looked yesterday. I think Conte's just slipped a little bit, but the favourite at the moment is Lucien Favre, who was the ex-Dortmund and Borussia Mönchengladbach manager. Brendan Rodgers is now second favourite. Conte is still there, even though he sort of, those reports had said that he would only take over a club that was ready to win. Roy Martinez is there. I'm not sure that would be the right route to take. Gerrard at 8-1, but I think he's distanced himself today. See, Jones as an interim, maybe that's possibly the reason for his inclusion there. He wasn't there yesterday, that high in the bet, and then you've got the likes of Eddie Howe, Graham Potter, Frank Lampard, and Zidane, sort of as I was going to say outsiders, but they're not really that long a shot. I know there's lots of talk about Graham Potter being potentially going to be approached, which I don't think would be a bad shout at all, given the way that his team plays. And I think, you know, you put a team that creates a lot of chances in with a striker that scores goals. That's a good combination. So it's the top few maybe surprised me a little bit. Obviously, Favre wasn't there a couple of days ago, and then appeared sort of yesterday or the day before. The rest have been sort of there or thereabouts, but just on a day-by-day basis, though, those guys are moving around a little bit and things. So that was the latest. I think I got those from Sky Bet just before we started. So it's I don't know, what are your thoughts, Dan? You know, who was your favourite on that list, or is there anybody that's not on that list?
I'd love Graham Potter. You know, thing is, I've got a Brighton supporting mate, and he's like me. He's a trainee journalist, and I know he would cry if we stole Graham Potter off him. But I'd love to see the look on his face, because Graham Potter at Brighton, obviously, as we know, plays fantastic football, but has never really had say a striker like Callum Wilson who can actually score. I know Neil Maupay is all right, but he's not Callum Wilson. He's not of that standard.
No.
So I think if Potter came at Newcastle and because I honestly go as far as saying Newcastle have a better sort of starting 11 than Brighton do.
I'd say that, yeah. I agree.
But obviously we have Steve Bruce and they have Graham Potter here. That is the difference. So yeah, I'd love someone, because of course he has experience in the Premier League as well. I get the feeling it'll probably be someone like Favre. You know, is that how you pronounce it? I don't know.
Is it Favre?
Ring it up, Mark.
All I think is Brett Favre from the NFL. I'm not sure that's right. It's probably Favre or Favre. Yeah.
Just from people who are.
I'll apologise if I'm butchering that as well.
Mark's normally really good at these things. He's football manager, Mad, so he's normally quite good at these types of things. So.
Just from people who I've spoken to, that's who they seem to think.
Yeah, see, for
my
me,
inside knowledge.
Your inside knowledge, or all your journalistic contacts. Well, for me, and my dad would agree, he's a Celtic fan. But for me, it's Brendan Rodgers all day long. I think that what these guys want to do as the owners of this club, they want to create an infrastructure. They want to work with the academy, you know, right from the grassroots up to the first team. And I think Brendan Rodgers is the perfect man for that. I think he was involved at the Chelsea Youth Academy.
Beautiful human being.
He's a beautiful human being as well. Sorry, Brendan. My God, we just murdered that there. But he went over to Barcelona. I'm sure Brendan listens, by the way. Hi, Brendan. Come to Newcastle. It's great. We'll get some kebab meat in the pint. So yeah,
you can bring Kolo Toure if you want to bring him.
Kolo Toure. So he's a fantastic manager. He really is. He can build it from the ground up. I was trying to be all serious, and you two take the piss. But he's got a fantastic record, and you know what it is? He's worked for 2 huge clubs with really big expectations, and Celtic and Liverpool. So I think he's got the mentality, he's got the shoulders to carry what's coming, the expectation behind the money. And he's a manager. He's a progressive manager. He wants to get to the next level. He wants to go bigger and bigger and bigger. And I really think if we were to give him an offer he couldn't refuse, to quote the Godfather, at Leicester, I think he would come here, absolutely. And I think he'd be a perfect manager for the job. I know some guys don't like it. He's fake time, he's David Brent. I mean, that thing with the envelope at Liverpool's followed him around everywhere, hasn't it, really? But as a manager, I know, Mark, you're a big fan of Brendan as well. As a manager, he plays unbelievable football, doesn't he, man?
Yeah, let's not forget as well.
He was outfoxed by Steve Bruce last year, though. Don't forget.
Oh. Put that in the bin, you. Come on, less of that. Go on, Mark.
So we're keeping Bruce then, yeah? Is that the
Bruce?
No, I do like Brendan. I think it's easy to kind of forget that he was a whisker away from taking the Premier League title with Liverpool before Klopp. Famously, he was a Steven Gerrard slip away from it. So they, it sort of all fell away after that. Suarez leaving it and things, but he had them playing some wonderful football, and he gets some great football out of Leicester as well. They've not started great this season, but they do play some good stuff, and he's got a track record. Yes, Leicester. I think Leicester won the Premier League before he got there, but cup finals and Champions League, qualification challenges and things for Leicester is still a great effort. And he's not breaking the bank with transfers either. He is quite well thought through, but it's just his style of coaching more than anything else. And you take from where he came from Swansea, the way they were playing, the way Celtic played, the way Liverpool played, and now the way Leicester play. It's just, it would be, I think it would be a perfect fit, especially for somebody to come in, build from the ground up over a course of 3 to 5 to 10 years. You could very well be the man that is there for a decade to see this right the way through to, a Premier League challenge, a Champions League challenge at that level. And he's got that power in him because of where he's been before to bring in a higher level of player. That's maybe the likes of an Eddie Howe doesn't have. He doesn't have that gravitas.
That pull to a player.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't. He is well known. He's well liked. So. I think it would be a great shout if he is the man to come in. Dan's still dancing in the bottom.
Sorry, when you mentioned he's got it there, I've now got Venus by Bananarama stuck in my head. He's got it.
I think you had too many cans. You had too many cans on that takeover night, Dan. I think you're still half cut, mate.
I'm still married.
Do we get copyright strikes for Dan singing here?
I doubt it. It's not that good.
Comments below. No, he did say banner. He did say Bananarama. That must be the tribute.
Bananarama.
It wasn't quite the actual. But that's a nice segue, actually, Mark. Just looking at the kind of pull of players.
This is in the Bananarama.
No, not the Bananarama bit. But just looking at the January transfer window, Dan. Just come back down to earth a little bit. Come back down to earth. No, yes. Just come and join us on planet Earth. Now, I'm dead excited, like everyone's excited, right? We might be mega wealthy, but as you rightly said, Dan, at the minute we're in the bottom 3, right? So providing we get out of the bottom 3, we're in the mid-table or whatever it may be, maybe even top 10. Who are you looking at in January, realistically here, as a transfer target? You know, I'll get mine in a minute, but realistically, who are you looking for, mate, to get us to that next level?
Well, considering what is being reported and what we're supposedly going to be given to spend, you know, some people are saying in the hundreds of millions, which I know for January is a bit absurd, but it may well come to pass. I'd look at someone like Donny van de Beer from Man United, you know.
Good shout.
Because he doesn't get played there very often. He sits on the bench, doesn't do anything, and he's a good player, as we've seen at Ajax previously. Go and get him, and he'll fit into that midfield lovely alongside Joe Willock. I've heard mentions of Anthony Martial. I've heard mentions of Marco Icardi. You know, there's no doubt these would improve our squad. Obviously, these are good players, and I'd love a James Ward-Prowse in there as well. You know,
I was going to get in that one as well, mate. So yeah,
I'd love someone like that. I'd love a James Ward-Prowse in there, and let's be honest, we can afford him now.
Well, that's a good shout. I mean, you know, Villa were sniffing Mark, weren't they, before you grabbed, who was it you got in the end? It wasn't Ward-Prowse, it was somebody else you pulled in, wasn't it? I can't remember who it was now.
Well, we brought in Buendia and Bailey.
That was it. With the Jack money, yeah.
Danny Ings, and so
kind of didn't really have enough probably left over to maybe get him. But you know, Dan's got a great point. Me and Mark are huge fans of Ward-Prowse. Fantastic player. I think what he brings you, Dan, you're totally right. One thing we lack massively is we're not a threat from set pieces.
No,
that's a
very good point.
Whether it's a direct free kick, penalty, you know, corners, we're just not very good. This lad himself can get you 6 or 7 goals a season from dead balls, but his assists and his delivery is incredible. You have a player like Callum Wilson in there, Lascelles. I know
he's going to have a field day, isn't he? Absolute field day.
Mate. Absolutely, and I know there's talk about was it James Tarkowski from Burnley, who's a hell of a centre half. You know, he's ready for the next level. He has been for a long time. You know, and I think putting him in that Newcastle back four would help us massively. For me, Dan, I'm looking at the full-back positions.
We can't keep playing Matt Ritchie there. Not now.
No, obviously left back. I mean, I think I sent a bit of a dream team and didn't have a realistic dream team. And I had Tierney at left back, which is probably a bit of a push. But when you've got the money we've got, why not? Why not have a double? Yeah, but I would love Lampard at right back.
Great shout, Chris. I mean, as I mentioned, my Brighton mate before, he loves Tariq Lamptey. He's been out injured for a little while though, and obviously he's just getting his way back into it now. But brilliant fullback, very young, pacey. Like we saw when he came to St James's Park at the start of the last season, how he tore us to shreds down that right hand side. I'd take Tariq Lamptey in a heart. If you can keep him fit, he's one hell of a right back. Future England player, Tariq Lamptey.
100%. Mark, is there anybody you think is a priority for us? Anybody we should be looking at with this blank checkbook?
Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, Neymar.
Well, you know what it is? You hear a lot of, you know, we've got enough to go out and sign these players, but you've got to be realistic and where you've said it, where you are at the moment. I think January, you look at the next step is to get out of that, finish as high as possible. The likes of Tarkowski, I think it's too early for
players. I think it is, isn't it? It's just proven.
Yeah, exactly. You need to come in and strengthen and take that first step. I think, given Ward-Prowse's contract that he signed with Southampton, you know, when Villa were sniffing around, his agent's got any sense, it's got a get out clause in it, like Grealish had. But I think 6 months is probably too early for that to be sort of, you know, kicked in, or at least for somebody to go in and do it. I think that was probably more of a summer transfer.
Yeah.
It's tough. Fullback, I think, is an instant need. I think definitely a left back is one that you need to have there. Obviously, we've said at centre back. I think another striker.
Definitely. Yes.
It absolutely is a desperate need because outside of Wilson, there is no one else. Gale's not up for this level. Joe Linton's not the answer. There isn't anybody else. So you need somebody to come in and play with or compete with Wilson for that starting centre striker role. I'm just trying to think of who that could be. I think. Do you mention Mauro Icardi before? I think.
Yeah, he's been touted. There's been rumours because we're rumoured with currently every single player in the club.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? And because you look and go, is this too early for some of these? You know, the likes of Icardi, I think is maybe a season too early for somebody of that.
I think so.
That stature.
Well, I think you sell them the project, though, don't you? You sell them the project that's coming. Yes, we're not at that level there, but come and be part of this.
Well, you can sell the legend, can't you? And I think this is what I wrote yesterday about the Newcastle manager and you know, Conte not wanting to be part of the project. He wants a ready-made thing, ready to compete for the title straight away. Come and be that legend. Come and earn your status as a Geordie hero, because we've seen it before with plenty of players that come in early on and are part of something special. So come and do it, because there's very few places that are like Newcastle to come and be absolutely loved for what you do for the club. So for somebody like that to sell them that project, then you write down that's maybe the way to go. And if you maybe start that process, especially with somebody like that comes in on loan, maybe for the first part, and then you look to bring them in the summer permanently, that might be the way to go. You know, it gives them a taste, and then you know, you walk into St James's Park, and even I get goosebumps walking into St James's Park and hear that roar. There's not an awful lot like it.
Yeah, that's it. It's a great shout, lads. I mean, I think one of the big positions we've all talked about, you know, in amongst Newcastle fans, is defensive midfield. I think we're really weak there. You know, Hayden's not hit the heights that he once did under Rafa. You know, and with all fairness to Hayden, he grafts hard. You know, and he puts in the shift, but I think we need to step up in quality. You know, and there was a name thrown around actually, Mark. It was very interesting for me. That was Calvin Phillips, and I think that's a really good shout. You know, from Leeds, he's a hell of a player. You know, Leeds are a great team. You know, and Bielsa's fantastic, but if Calvin Phillips is going to be offered a considerable wage increase and to be part of a project moving forward where he could be surrounded by some of the best players in European football potentially in the next 3 or 4 seasons, would he have a sniff, do you think?
Jack Williams at Aston Villa.
Well,
sorry to remind you that, Mark.
But you have that comparison, don't you? Because
he's
a Leeds, exactly right, and I mean we were close to sign him at one point, and he stayed, and he is Leeds through and through. He's a tough one. I think he's more difficult to prize away from Leeds than Jack was from us. Yes, possibly. And I think especially under Bielsa, I think he really enjoys that. So if that relationship under Bielsa was to end, then I think the story's a little different. I think he's probably one that you would struggle, but there are others. You know, I think there were plenty that were talking about the likes of Bissouma as a potential. And I think there's issues surrounding him.
He might be playing for a different team altogether, mate. I think.
Prison FC. Prison FC has got some cracking players in it now, hasn't it?
The mean machine.
It's getting their squad's getting big these days, isn't it?
It is.
So yeah, I mean that sort of level is
that type of player. Yeah,
exactly. To come in and you want a proper ball playing defensive midfielder, and I just don't think Hayden is that.
No.
And I think that's possibly where you would maybe struggle in that area. So yes, that's certainly a one to look to strengthen.
What's interesting though, I think Dan, me and you spoke about this as well, you know, before we came on air. If you surround the club behind the scenes with the right people, the right scout mechanism, the guys who can scour all of Europe and find, N'Golo Kantes and these types of guys, then you are going to find these nuggets from nowhere. We don't even know who the hell they are, and they'll come on and we'll be like, Christ, he's a good player, isn't he? You know, so if you get that right in the back of house, mate, then the front of house surely looks better, doesn't it?
This is the thing, like, you know, obviously we can all say all these big names who we could think, but footballers, you know, as you mentioned there's lots of little players who are very much unknown but might come in and suddenly be a superstar one day. It's not all about going out and breaking the bank for them, for someone who we all know. Sometimes you've got, a football club hasn't just got to, as we've seen with many clubs, breaking the bank for every single position doesn't always work.
No, absolutely.
You've got to have break the bank for some big names, because of course that's what the fans want. We'd love to see sort of a big name player come to Newcastle, but they've all got to gel together, and sometimes going under the radar a little bit can really help gel a squad together and picking out a little diamond or a gem from somewhere completely unknown, and then you find the next N'Golo Kante for like 500,000 or 1 million, and suddenly is now worth tens of millions now.
Absolutely, that's something Leicester have done really well, isn't it, over the years? And then I think Emil actually said it, didn't he, as well on True Faith podcast? That's the kind of club, in my eyes, we should be trying to emulate as well. Leicester, then obviously follow the blueprint of the Manchester City. But yeah, just to wrap up, lads, just quickly for the game at the weekend. It's not a fixture focus episode, but we've talked about the atmosphere so much. What are we thinking? Dan, start with you as our guest, mate. What are you fancying us against?
You know that I'm optimistic, Chris, and with everything that's happened in the last week, I think the crowd will just give us that boost with Wilson back, with a few other players come back from injury as well. So I'm going to go with a 2-1 win.
Good shout.
Get our season going.
Good man, Mark. You got a piss on the chips?
Ooh, I've just 4-0 Spurs. No, I'm not. I think you're absolutely right. I think the atmosphere will do a lot to carry Newcastle through, regardless of who's playing. I think if Wilson is fit, I can see this being 2 or 3-0.
Wow.
I just think that
virtual high five.
I think walking into that atmosphere is, and it's been too long since you walk at the St James's and feel intimidated, and that was always something. We have a dreadful record as Villa at St James's, and it was always something. You walked in and you heard that roar, and you just felt, shit, we're here again. This isn't going to go well. And if the atmosphere just hasn't matched that level of intimidation for a long time, and if you get that back and become a fortress again, I know that's a cliched saying, but you need the fans, you need them, and I just think that will carry on. It lifts the level that the players will play at, and I just think Spurs will come in and come unstuck.
I couldn't agree more, Mark. People tend to forget as well, Spurs aren't in a great place. They're not playing very good football. The knives are out for Nuno. Kane isn't really firing. Dele Alli's invisible. I hope I haven't jinxed us there, but I'm going for 2-0 for Newcastle.
4-0 Tottenham.
I'm going 2-0. I'm going 2-0 Newcastle, Dan. I'm being positive as well. The takeover has turned me. But yeah, I'm with Mark. I think the atmosphere, the buzz around the city, I don't think the fans will drop one bit. I think they'll be singing their hearts out from minute 1 to minute 90. And if those players can't get up for that and they can't perform in that, then they don't deserve to be in the club. And we've got the owners now who can just flick them out and get replacements. So I think that they will turn up. I think Wilson will be gasping the banging goals in that crowd. So Maximin, as Mark says there, will want the ball every second. I even think like Longstaff and Willock will look like the shackles are off them. I think they'll feel a sense of freedom without Bruce there as well. So yeah, I'm going 2-0 for Newcastle, and bring on Sunday. Get in. What a game this is going to be. And that's all the time we've got for on the Slide Rule Pass today, guys. Dan, thanks for joining us as always, mate.
Very well. I loved it as per usual.
Yeah, and as always, mate, we always give the guests a chance to shout out the podcast.
What do you want me to plug this time?
You got about 16 to choose from, mate, so pick one.
You're putting me on the spot now. You know what, right? Given everything that's happened in the takeover in the last few days, I'm going to plug. Actually, you know what I'm going to plug? Writer's Block Live, which you're on, Chris. I'm going to plug that. I'm also going to plug Emil's Fan Cams Part 2 coming out very soon, which I obviously filmed. So instead of plugging myself at once, I'm going to plug other people. Oh, nice.
No, he's a noble man, but we'll stick some links to the True Faith
Absolutely.
YouTube channel.
Very good.
Not that they need much help from us, but
we're doing fantastic at True Faith. I do apologize if I've been saying it like under my breath. I got cramp about 2 minutes ago. Okay, aside tonight, and I'm slowly nursing my thigh right now, just trying to stretch it underneath.
Well, Dan will not be playing Sunday, that's for sure. But
no.
But yeah, listen. If you like the kind of thing that we do, guys, obviously we really appreciate all the listens and the views. Just remember to click subscribe and like the videos for Slide Rule Pass. And also, if you listen to us on the audio, thank you very much. We're available on Spotify, Pocket Cast, iTunes, everything you could possibly imagine. Just drop us a little like, give us a little rating on there, and we're always happy to have you on board. But for now, we're going to say, time to go away and away the lads and bring on Sunday. Let's batter those Spurs. Come on, lads.